Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining another Ready to Ride Pilates horse rider session. Apologies if there's a bit of background noise. There seems to be a lot going on around here today, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me anyway. In this session we're going to be working on your hips and glutes. It's all going to be in a lying down position, so you don't need to worry about changing position and moving around, all just in that one position. Hips and glutes are so important for our strength and stability in the saddle, and that's why I keep returning to them time and time again. I do suggest that you have a warm-up before you do this session, so if you haven't, pause, go and do a warm-up and then come back and get going. Okay, so let us start. I'd like just to check that your posture is really equal and balanced before you even get started, so thinking of that nice equal weight through your seat bones and your spine, drawing up nice and tall but elastic right the way through to the top of your head. Then pop your arms across your chest, and keeping that equal weight through your seat bones, you're going to turn from side to side, keeping your shoulders level and that nice equal weight through your seat bones. Watch that your shoulders don't drop as you go into that movement, so keep them as level as you can all the way through that movement. Okay, then we're going to go down onto your side. We're going to go into your clam. We're going to have a go at the level 3 position. If you find this is too much, then of course you can just do the straightforward usual version. So I'd like you to have your bottom leg straight and your top leg bent with your foot tucked in behind the knee. Mouse holes open, if you can, top hand onto your top headlight, and then you're opening and closing your top knee just like you would normally. Keep checking the mouse hole. Keep checking that your pelvic floor is staying to floor 3. Make sure that your breathing is staying really regular. You might find in this position you need to make the movement a little bit smaller so that you can keep your balance. That's absolutely fine. If you do find that you're really struggling with your balance, like I said, pop your feet into the normal position that you would do for your clam. So keep checking your mouse hole and nice regular breathing. Okie doke. We're going to come up into your side kick. So I'd like you to take your legs into a capital L position and then prop up onto your forearm. If you find that you've got shoulder pain and this is not very comfortable, you can do this lying flat, it's absolutely fine, but this is just a little bit harder if you can manage this position. So pelvic floor onto floor 3, float your top leg, and then you are bringing that knee up around your hip and pelvis. Use the feedback from this top hand to make sure that your pelvis isn't rocking. It's very easy to find that you're starting to do this, but you want your pelvis to stay still, so all that movement is from your hip. For your leg aids, it's about the stable pelvis and a mobile but strong hip. If you want to make this a little bit harder, you can lift your pelvis and then carry on with that same movement. Just watch that you keep breathing. So the tendency is that as the exercises get harder, you're concentrating more, you're physically working harder, it's very easy to then find that you're holding your breath to try and fix and brace, just like we do in the saddle. So you really want to watch that you don't do that when exercising as well. Keep that breathing. Do 2 more. 1, 2. Super job. Bring your leg down. We're going to turn onto your back and we're going to do your hip twist. And if you're not feeling particularly strong around your tummy muscles today, you can do your level 1, so feet staying on the floor. But otherwise, I'd like you to go up into your tabletop position. So checking you've got 90 degrees-ish at hips and knees. Think about engaging those imaginary ropes from your ribs to pelvis, so this bit of your body stays nice and still. And then you're taking each leg out to the side in turn. Remember, this is a wine glass exercise, so the leg that isn't moving, whether your feet on the floor or you are in tabletop, that leg wants to stay as still as you possibly can, and it's really not easy. Use the feedback from your hands. If you want to test yourself, you can take your elbows off the floor and see if you can still keep your balance as you move each leg side to side. It's a good test that you weren't bracing through your elbows. And make sure the pelvic floor is still working, that your breathing is regular, and those headlights are pointing upwards. 1 more with each leg. and then each foot back down onto the floor. And we're going to move on to your double leg stretch. You can do this again, feet on the floor or from tabletop. If you're going from the floor, you're sliding each leg straight in turn this way. If you're going from tabletop, you're straightening each leg in turn like so. Again, whichever one you're doing, keep those ribs gently down towards your pelvis. And then we're going to add in your arms. So you're doing that little circle to synchronise with your leg movement. So now your rib positioning becomes even more important. Keep the circle small. Don't forget to breathe. So really watch that you're not holding your breath in order to stabilise yourself. Keep that pelvic floor onto floor 3 as well. Make sure you're synchronising arms and legs. Keep breathing. Do one more with each leg. Bring your arms down, feet down one at a time. Give yourselves a little bit of a breather, then we're going to spin round onto the side that you haven't already been on. And we're going to start off once again with your level 3 clamp, if you can, so straight bottom leg. And tuck that top foot in behind your bottom knee rather. Mouse holes open, pelvic floor onto floor 3, top hand onto your top headlight. And once again you are opening and closing that top knee. Same principles as before, mouse hole staying open so you know your spine is straight. And that headlight is staying nice and still so you're watching, don't move through your pelvis. It's always about keeping the pelvis still and moving from the hip unless you specifically want your pelvis to move. Don't forget to breathe as well, and if you can keep your pelvic floor onto floor 3, you're doing a brilliant job. Okay, we're going to do one last one, and then we're going to take the legs into the capital L position, and again, if you can, prop up onto your forearm, but once again, if you find that you're not comfortable on your shoulder, you can do this one absolutely lying flat. So again, top hand onto your top headlight, float your top leg, and you're bringing that top knee up around your hip and pelvis. But with this one, it's very definitely one of those you modify your range depending on the control you've got. So if you find that you get up to about here and you start to wobble, then stop there, don't try and come all the way up here. You want to work within the range that you can do easily. Headlight staying still, so all that movement is from the hip. If you want to make it harder, then you lift your pelvis and off you go again. Just watch that you can keep breathing, pelvic floor stays active, and your foot, hip and knee are level with each other. Don't forget to breathe, so important. I know I keep going on about it, but it is very important. Keep making sure that that pelvis is still and all the movement is from your hip. Last one. Okay, bring that leg down, and we're going to go onto your hands and knees, and we're going to do your leg pull from this position. So start off with your hands just in front of, I'm going to go onto my mat a little bit more, hands just in front of your shoulders, toes tucked underneath your feet, knees underneath your hips, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and then lift your knees and slowly back down. So it's pelvic floor into that lift and slowly back down. If you want to, you can stay doing that one. Otherwise, hands a little bit further in front. It's pelvic floor, lift and push forward. So you're into that plank position, straight line, shoulders, hips, knees, feet, back over and down. So it's pelvic floor, lift, straight over, back and down. Keep the movement small. Don't try and end up with your bottom in the air or into a glorified cobra. You want to just go into that end range position and stop there. Don't try and push on, because you'll probably find you end up where you don't want to be. Keep breathing as well. 2 more. Last one. Super job. Okay, then I'd like you to come up into kneeling on your knees, so to speak, and we're going to do your kneeling roll up. Nice easy one to wind down with. Knees comfortably apart, and you're just going to go up and down as if you were doing rising chop. This is a great one for working on that control through your hip area, because you want to feel that you're leading the movement with your hips and pelvis. Keep your shoulders as still as you can, and you're leading the way through your hips and your pelvis. This is a really good exercise for hip flexor strength and control. We'll do 2 more. Last one. Okay, and we're going to finish off with your shell stretch. So if you can, I'd like you to kneel with your heels on, your bottom rather, onto your heels. You could try it the other way around, it's a bit tricky. Then take your hands out in front. And do this if you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable in this position, just stop at the point where you do feel comfortable. And then let's have a couple of nice big breaths in. Then bring your hands up towards your knees, and I'm going to sit and face you, and we are going to finish there with that one. Short and sweet, but some of those exercises are really quite hard. If you want to make yourself work a bit hard, you can always pause in the middle and add on a few extra repetitions if you feel that your stamina is developing and you want to work a little bit harder. But otherwise, sometimes you don't want to keep pushing on for too long, because you can then start to lose the quality of the work that you're doing. I hope you found that a useful session. Hope you've found it's highlighted a few things that you need to keep working on. Look after yourselves, and I will see you very soon. Bye bye.